3, 2, 1, go. Okay.
Timer didn't start, dude. Rip.
Hi.
Okay, so
Okay,
the
whatever.
Talos Principle is a first-person puzzle game, much like Portal. It's in that style. And one thing we do is go out of bounds a lot. The main trick we use to go out of bounds is called item jumping. It's essentially the physics engine is very messed up, and you can use items to get a lot of height if you place them with correct timing against a wall. And you will see that a lot throughout the run. It's the main way to go out of bounds and solve the puzzles very quickly. You will see that we are collecting sigils. Sigils are the terminal puzzles that you see that are green for now. We will also see...
I just want to interrupt. My timer stopped. RIP. I apologize. I don't know what happened.
RIP.
Green, that's the color. Green terminals allow us to unlock more levels, essentially. And you will see that later as they lead into the next world. And yellow items allow us to unlock items. And in this run, we will be unlocking one item, which is the cube. And we are supposed to unlock 5, but since we can clip inside the tower, which you will see later, we don't need to get a lot of the game, and any percent can cut a lot of sigils. And normally you can also complete the game without unlocking the cube, but it's very hard
dependent.
and yeah, it's FPS dependent.
I also want to say, when we duck into the menus here, because it's in Chinese, you probably can't tell what it says, but we're clicking restart checkpoint.
Oh yeah,
and it basically just is classic save warping, lets us get out of puzzles quicker.
Yes, essentially whenever they walk through one of the purple doors, they reset their checkpoint to inside or outside that puzzle, and that lets us warp to certain points instead of walking back every time, and that's very convenient and saves a bunch of time. And so essentially you saw them go from A1, which was the first level, now they're into A3. They collected mostly just one red and one yellow sigil. And red sigils unlock some gates in the tower, which you will also see later on. And now they are either yes, I assume that someone got bump jump. Missed. I am watching with a delay, but yes, bump jump is a horrible jump. And as I said earlier, the physics engine is messed up. And essentially, if you jump and aim for that small rock on the ground, you get a small bump that lets you go over that barrier and solve that puzzle without having the connector unlocked, which is the item that you're supposed to unlock first. But we can skip and just unlock the cube, which is all we need to finish the game.
How are we doing right now? I'm in A2.
Just entering.
A5?
A5?
Are you doing it different?
He skipped A2, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, okay. That's right.
We call things go too hard.
A5 has a bunch of hard jumps, but there are also safer strats with the cube that I just saw Torrent do, and the cube essentially makes those jumps trivial. But A5 in general is normally very hard if you're just using the geometry jumps. Fortunately, there are ways to make it a bit easier with the cube. And essentially, they will very soon have enough green tetraminos to the point that we can go into World B. World B is essentially where we get our last tetraminos, and they will allow us to go into floor 2 of the tower, and that's where we are going to clip.
Paint,
okay. Yes, paint is an item that is normally, its intended use is to paint messages, and people on your Steam friend list can see them and they can read them. But it also acts as a bonus item, and on top of acting like a normal item, you can carry it through purple doors, and it also gives you much more height. So you will see people jumping over entire mountains because that's what paint does. Just gives you a lot of height.
Marathon luck, got deception paint. Let's go.
Deception paint is the worst paint,
paint's great.
it loses
Oh, I
like
fell.
25 seconds compared to back paint, which is what Koza got.
Oh, back pain.
But I
dude?
fell, so you can make up that time.
Oh, you fell in door too far.
Yeah.
It is. Oh, that's one of the worst places to fall because you have to walk
It's
back
the place
out
to
of
fall.
the other level and grab the paint again. So that loses a lot of time.
I just hope I have enough FPS, dude.
And the graphics of this game look very mediocre, but that's because we have to run on lowest settings. Because most of those jumps that you see are FPS dependent, because as I said, the physics engine relies, amongst other things, relies on FPS, and the more FPS you have, the higher your jumps go, and so that's why we play with the lowest graphics. But with good
The game looks
graphics,
beautiful.
this game is amazing with good graphics, but we can't
Dude.
show that off in a speedrun.
I can't get this jump. Holy moly.
You can just do the cube backup if it's the one in A5.
I'm in A6 still. I'm trying to
Oh.
get.
Oh, that knows a jump. Oh yeah,
Oh,
that jump
okay,
is
I got it.
awful and very FPS dependent.
Like, I was ranging around 250 and wasn't getting it. As well as the paint jump at the end.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that this game relies so much on FPS when you're speedrunning it. It's
It is pay to
essentially pay to win.
The more FPS, the higher your frames. Good work, Ninja.
Yeah, thank
Except
you.
calling you out.
My English is my. I've been
Oh.
doing a great job, and I don't know where exactly they are because of the delay, but they should be
I'm in
heading out of
A7 right
A
now.
right now.
I still
I had
have
some
A5 and
problems.
7 left.
Okay, so they will soon leave A and get
God
into
dang.
B.
I cannot get this.
Ninja
right now.
believed us too hard.
You know what? Restart checkpoint. I don't care.
Okay, so you will see soon that Torrent is using the green tetraminos he collected for essentially just escaping from A, and he will do a trick called, probably already done it, it's called elevator skip, which essentially if you press the buttons in a certain sequence, essentially the game thinks that you're already at the top of the elevator, and you can just restart checkpoint and it puts you at the top, and that saves like 30 seconds per elevator ride, something like that. It's ridiculous. The elevator rides are very long.
Do you want to talk about cubeless percent, maybe?
Yeah, cubeless, essentially, I talked about it already. It's possible to complete the
Oh, you
game
did?
without unlocking the cube, but it's very hard, and the final jump that we do is for the tower clip. Since we don't have the cube, we have to use Nexus Paint, which is 20% to end your run, essentially, because there is one very bad paint spawn. Paint doesn't always spawn in the same place, so on the bad spawns, that ends your run. And also it's very much FPS dependent and very hard sequence of jumps to get it, so it's definitely not marathon safe.
I probably should have lowered my OBS settings. Like, I don't know.
How are you doing, Torrent?
So Torrent is almost out of B4 by now. I mean,
Oh my
maybe
Gotcha.
oh. And yeah,
Good.
after B4 we are done with collecting sigils. That is the extent of the game that we skip. You're supposed to do all of A, all of B, and all of C, but we can just skip so much because we can clip inside the tower. And when you clip inside the tower, you can access... When you clip inside the tower, you can reach 2 of the 3 endings in this game, and messenger ending, which is supposed to be the 100% one casually, happens to be the quickest because of where the final warp for the ending is positioned. So you will see Torrent heading into the tower soon, and he will enter floor 1, which is essentially useless. We just need to go there to open floor 2, and floor 2 is where he will do the clip. Floor 1 in the terminal, you will see when he accesses the terminal there, you will see that the text is in Chinese, and that is the reason why we play on an alternate language. The text in Chinese there saves 4 seconds over English, and it's really stupid because it's literally the only thing that changes is that section, but it's some time, so why not?
It can all change, but like, I don't know how I'm gonna do in B4. Like, I don't know if I'll be able to get the FPS.
And what Torrent is doing in the terminal right now is he's just opening floor 2, and that's it. Not much going on. The terminals normally supply you with the story of the game and all of the background philosophical kind of things, but we don't care. We just have to use that one because we need to access floor 2, and other than that they are completely useless. And Torrent should soon get started on the clip, I think. We will break out 2 cubes out of this puzzle area, and it's very silly how we get them out.
I'll only be doing one with an FPS lock.
PB?
Oh, congrats.
Wait, what happened?
Oh, Torrent also did a trick, which is called a cube jump, and essentially the engine is once again doesn't make sense. And essentially you saw him changing his FPS limit to 30, and normally we run on uncapped because that's what we need for all the jumps, but with your FPS limit on 30 you can do those tricks called cube jumps, and the more FPS, the higher they shoot you into the air, and if you have uncapped FPS you just skyrocket into the infinite, and eventually you hit a death zone, so you need to limit your FPS, and that's why he switches to 30 FPS and the tower clip. And
Yes.
Kozo is also doing the tower clip, I think.
Yeah, I'm just finishing.
Hubert is still stuck.
Alright, I'm done. I messed up my timer, but I just finished.
Okay. So yeah, that was the Talos Principle. It was very hard to do commentary because the run is so fast, there is so much to talk about.